Aloha, my name is Niniau Simmons, and so I am happily here to transition us into our next speaker. And I'd like to introduce another co-MC, Geoffrey Blackwell.
So, Heshte Chukma, Soholshafat Geoffrey Blackwell, Soholshafat Ishtadabi. My name is Jeff Blackwell, and I'm honored and thrilled to be working in this space for the last 20 years. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be operating as your master of ceremonies, and I think in some ways that means I'm going to be a little bit of a traffic cop for our engagement. So to sort of set the tone for our meeting, and for those of you who are sitting in the side, after our morning sessions, we're gonna roll these walls back. But our first sessions are two breakout sessions. Does everybody have a copy of the agenda? There are a couple of agendas on does everybody have access to the internet? Well, that's what we're here about. Okay, so in a simple word, I think that this gathering and what has become the hallmark of these Indigenous Connectivity Summits is engagement. We're very fortunate to have so many knowledgeable and helpful people here from the Internet Society, from ISOC. So the folks that are here from ISOC, could you please stand? And this is Mark Buell. He's our North American Bureau Chief from ISOC. Other ISOC folks? All right. Where are the ISOC folks? Come in, raise your hands. Hossein, Anna. All right. So these are folks who are your resources at ISOC. We want to make sure that you get to know them. So our agenda is about creating a community conversation here. So the folks who are going to be on the stage or presenting, they are expected to be the conversation leaders. And if you, by the end of these 2 days, if you have not taken the opportunity to engage, then we're going to engage you. So I was raised by a couple of school teachers, so I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you some of the ground rules, some of the basics. So at the very beginning, a few years ago, some of us who volunteer and work with tribal nations on the continent at an international convention met the folks from ISOC, and we were very impressed with the way that they wanted to engage with our tribal nations. And a couple of years ago, they hosted the first Indigenous Connectivity Summit in New Mexico, in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And there were tribal nations that came from around the United States and Canada. The next year, last year, was in Inuvik, Canada, sort of right up very close to where the northernmost border of Alaska and Canada meet. And it was at that summit that a gentleman named Bert Lum, who's here from the state of Hawaii, a broadband manager, gentleman right there, he said, you know, I know some communities you guys need to come meet and get to know. I seconded that. There were many of us who did, because there was a point in time where I worked for the United States federal government and know that the issues of connectivity here in Hawaii are even more challenging than so many other parts of indigenous communities throughout the United States and the world, indeed. We must remember that we are in the middle of a vast ocean, the largest on the planet, and if we cannot work together to bring connectivity here, we do not always want it to be an island in this world of connectivity. The ground rules. Engagement. If you are the type of person that likes to talk and talk a lot, challenge yourself. If you are and to ask questions, not just make statements. If you are the kind of person that does not talk a lot, challenge yourself to speak up. So we have a couple of other ground rules. I noticed some folks who came in together. I believe they're at this table, and others who worked together, who came together. Spread out. Get to meet other people who are here. Again, challenge yourself. If you're sitting by somebody that you work with every day, that you talk to every week, you're at the wrong table. So, Bumpy, Brandon, you're gonna have to go other tables, boys, okay? You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. I don't have a really good sense of humor. So then also, an old tool that my co-chair Matthew Rantanen and I've had since I was a Fed and he was on our task force. There's a lot of internet and telecommunications knowledge in this room. There are many experts. Everyone is in a different state of understanding. We all want to share. So we have satellite, we have wireless, we have wireline. No acronyms, no inside baseball. If somebody is slinging lingo, that's when I'm going to become traffic cop, and that's when anybody in the room is empowered to raise their hand. And what are you going to say? No inside baseball. No inside baseball. And what we'll try to do is very quickly give the definition of that term, or make sure that everyone in the room understands where we're going with that conversation or knowledge. So anybody want to sling? And that's true of any lingo. There's a whole new host of acronyms that I learned when I started working with Hawaii. They've got all sorts of different offices and an entirely new area, entirely new lexicon. Also, we will parking lot issues. We have an aggressive agenda. And so if there are issues that resonate with folks, if somebody wants to talk more about them, there is fantastic food and drink on this island. We can arrange sessions, maybe we can call them dinners or gatherings later in the day, but we also want to make sure that as we're moving, if something comes up and there's a parking lot issue, we're going to actually put it on our parking lot here in the back of the room, and we're going to make sure that we cover that issue. So if there's somebody who wants to know something more, make sure, and we have 2 different cards on your table. What is the yellow one for? AFIS Max had sales, so that's the reason why we have 2. So an effective use of budget. If you have a question or if you want to know more, you write it down, you hand it to me or one of the people from ISOC, and we will make sure and cover that issue, okay? So again, it's engagement. You're here for a purpose. You brought something here. You're here to learn something. You're here to share something. A couple of simple announcements. Parking passes are required for those with cars. So make sure add your name to the list at the registration table. Some protocol for this place, and we must, it was very appropriate that the first words you heard this morning were Hawaiian words. We are in a special place. And for those of us from indigenous communities, we know that home is not just where you reside, it is an actual place. So to be respectful of this place and to this community, there are no food and drink in here. If you'd like to have something, it has to have a cap on it. So like my bottle over here or a water bottle. No shoes. Again, water bottles with caps are okay, but no shoes. Eye socks, as Bert is wearing, as Mark is wearing, those are acceptable. Everybody had some eye socks. Hopefully you get your eye socks. And on behalf of all of us who are part of the planning committee, sorry for the bus confusion this morning. That will probably extend through the remainder of the meeting, if I'm honest. So, no, Kelly's saying no too. But I do encourage you to come back tomorrow. What Keiki said is it's a special opportunity to see the morning protocol. So we are welcome to stand in the back and be able to watch and be included. Are there any questions? What was the first rule I said? Engagement? There aren't any questions? I'm going to call on you if you... Of course, Matt has a question. The bathrooms. Bathrooms down the hall. some leftover, some coffee and snacks. So you come out this door and you go around to the left. Men's and women's rooms are there. Any other questions before we get started? Okay, yes. So the agenda is online. There are also 2 copies of agenda on your table. Yeah. If you are, live in the internet world, look it up on your device. If not, it's on paper, and if that doesn't work, just do what I say. Move from room to room. Yes, sir. There is Wi-Fi. There are passwords on the whiteboards, and they should be on the table as well. On the boards on both sides? Okay. There are 2 networks here. We can make an announcement about that again. Sir, you want to announce the 2?
There's 2 Wi-Fis open for all of you guys that want to. One is when you look at your Wi-Fi login, would be Halealelo. And within there, the password is aloha with a 0, space olelo, all lowercase. And then for Lumi Pahia is the other Wi-Fi available to you. And the password for that one is her name, Kiiki Okolani. And it's all lowercase. And either one should give you at least a 10 gigabit connection.
Wow. Okay then. Not messing around. Okay, so let's get ready. We're going to do a little bit of movement now. And like I said, when you come back, you are not going to be seated next to somebody you already know well. I'm going to ask. The other thing we're going to do, a fundamental rule. With every session, we're going to ask every table to work together to develop a point, a question, some input for the session. Again, the folks who are the speakers are the leaders of this engagement. We want you to engage. Again, you came for a reason, you came to share something or learn something. Let's make sure that at the end of these 2 days that occurs. So, mahalo nui. Again, my name is Geoffrey Blackwell, and this is the lovely Niniau Simmons. And she was very gracious to offer to serve as our host after we conscripted her. So if there are any questions, let us know. So the round table in, I believe, this room will be explore Native and Indigenous connectivity fundamentals. And no, I got it backwards. Sorry. Round table in that room is going to be explore Native and Indigenous connectivity fundamentals. And in this room will be the current state of Native and Indigenous connectivity. So grab your stuff, move to the space where you'd like to. Thank you.